Srila Prabhupada and Guru Maharaj. I am Pooja from Sydney, and may I know who have joined today? Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Mother Jayashree here from Vrindavan.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavat Pranam, all glories to Srila Prabhupada and Guru Maharaj. Thank you for giving us your invitation.
Hare Krishna, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada and Guru Maharaj. This is Nikunja Rasadas from Germantown, Maryland.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam, all glories to Srila Prabhupada and Guru Maharaj. Thank you so much for joining.
Hare Krishna Mataji, this is Brandar Bandari from Maryland. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam, all glories to Srila Prabhupada and Guru Maharaj. Thank you so much for joining.
Hare Krishna, Puja Mataji, and all the assembled devotees. Dandavat Pranam, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Guru Maharaj ki jai. This is Shamarasika Devidasi from Germantown, Maryland.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavat Pranam, all glories to Srila Prabhupada and Guru Maharaj. Thank you so much for joining. Anybody else who would like to announce their name? Hare Krishna devotees, Dandavat Pranam, all glories to Srila Prabhupada and Guru Maharaj. Today we are so fortunate to have Her Grace Jayashree Mataji from New Vrindavan, and today Mataji will enlighten us on Srimad Bhagvatam, Canto 7, Chapter 7, verse 48 onwards. Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavat Pranam, and whenever you are ready, please take over the call.
Okay, thank you. Hare Krishna, all glories to Srila Prabhupada, all glories to the wonderful devotee association that we have. All glories to the Srimad Bhagvatam. Jaya Radha Punjabi Gopi Janabha Yasaramandana Yamunati Jaya Radha Punjabi Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Gurudeva, Jaya Gurudeva, Jaya Gurudeva. Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahansa Parvajakacharya Astratera Satis Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahansa Parvajakacharya Astratera Satis Divine Grace Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Ananti Kota Vaishnavrini ki jai, Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur ki jai, Prem Shri Kaho Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasari Gaur Bhaktivinoda ki jai, Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopinath Shamakunda Radha Kunda Giri Govardhan ki jai, Shri Vrindavan Dham ki jai, Navadvip Dham ki jai, Ganga Maya ki jai, Jamuna Maya ki jai, Bhakti Devi ki jai, Srimati Tulsi Devi ki jai, Samaveda Bhaktivinoda ki jai. All glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to Sri Guru and Sri Ranga, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. So, we are reading from the Srimad Bhagvatam, Canto 7, Chapter 7, Text 48. Om Ganatimriyandasya Gananjana Salakaya Chaksurun Militam Yena Tasma Shri Gurave Namaha. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Shamarashika, do you want to do the Sanskrit since you are so free?
Yes, Mataji. Hare Krishna. Text 7.7.48. Tasmadayarthascha kamascha dharmascha yad prayashraha ya bhajatani hayatma nama niham harimeshwaram. Hare Krishna.
All right, thank you so much.
Welcome, Mataji. Thank you.
Synonyms: Tasmat, therefore; Artha, ambitions for economic development; Cha, and; Kamaha, ambitions for satisfaction of the senses; Cha, also; Dharma, duties of religion; Cha, and; Yat, upon whom; Aparsraya, dependent; or Jata, worshipped; Anjihaya, without desire for them; Atmanam, the super soul; Aniham, indifferent; Harim, the supreme personality of Godhead; Ishwaram, the Lord. Translation: the four principles of advancement in spiritual life, Dharma, Artha, Kama, and Moksha, all depend on the disposition of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Therefore, my dear friends, follow in the footsteps of devotees without desiring, fully depend on the disposition of the Supreme Lord. Worship him, the Super Soul, in devotional service. The report by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. These are words of intelligence. Everyone should know that in every stage of life, we are dependent upon the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Therefore, the Dharma, religion, which we accept should be that which is recommended by Prahlad Maharaj, Bhagavad Dharma. This is the instruction of Krishna. Sarvadharma parikshadya mama ekam saranam vraja. To take shelter of the lotus feet of Krishna means to act according to the rules and regulations of Bhagavad Dharma, devotional service. As far as economic development is concerned, we should discharge our occupational duties, but fully depend on the lotus feet of the Lord for the results. Karmani eka karnas, temam, alasu chadan chana. You have a right to perform your prescribed duty, but you are not entitled to the fruits of action. According to one's position, one should perform his duties. But for the results, one should fully depend on Krishna. Narottam Das Thakur sings that our only desire should be to perform the duties of Krishna consciousness. We should not be misled by karma mimamsa philosophy, which concludes that if we work seriously, the results will come automatically. This is not a fact. The ultimate result depends upon the will of the Supreme Personality of Godhead in devotional service. Therefore, the devotee completely depends upon the Lord and honestly performs his occupational duties. Therefore, Prahlad Maharaj advised his friends to depend completely on Krishna and worship him in devotional service. Namo Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasaya Bhutale Srimati Bhaktivedanta Swamini Tinaya. Namaste Saraswati Devi Gaurvani Pacharane Nirvisesa Sunyavadi Vishtachadeshta. We're born in the darkness of ignorance, but our spiritual master is kindly opening our eyes with the torchlight of knowledge. So we offer our most humble and respectful obeisances unto the lotus feet of such a spiritual master. So it's an interesting verse. It's actually got a lot to it. People are hankering after dharma, artha, kama, and moksha, which is religiosity, economic development, sense gratification, and liberation. So here it says you have the right to perform your duty, but you are not entitled to the fruits of action. According to one's position, one should perform his duty, but for the result, one should fully depend on Krishna. So how many times have we performed an action expecting a certain result, which doesn't come? Sometimes that happens. It's not that if we do things that we're supposed to do in a certain way that we're going to get that specific result. And we see in the life of Srila Prabhupada, he was a businessman, and he had an instruction from Bhaktisiddhanta Maharaj to preach Krishna consciousness in the West in English. And because he was good at business, he tried to make money. It actually said in his chart that he would be a very wealthy man. He tried to make money to spread Krishna consciousness, but over and over again, his attempts failed. His business failed. He lost his business in different ways. I believe the last time his own employees ransacked his establishment and took everything. He also translated. He had like a Bhagavad Gita translated, and I think another time it was part of the Srimad Bhagvatam. And one time it was sold by his wife for paper, just for the weight of paper, so she could get tea or tea biscuits, something, you know. I mean, this is a great endeavor. He wanted to make money to be able to fulfill the instructions of the spiritual master. Nothing wrong with that at all. But somehow or other, it didn't happen. And it's a little bewildering because in his chart it said he would be a very extremely wealthy businessman. But the wealth didn't manifest like he thought it would, when he thought it would. And when he came to America, I'm sure it's not the way he wanted to come. He came to America with like $7 in rupees. And he built an organization through time. And that wealth manifests at that time. He also tried to start, he started his own magazine, his periodical, The Back to Godhead, and he would distribute it. And another time he was semi-retired. He was like in the Vanaprastha stage. And he went to Jhansi and he was preaching, and there was this building the Sri Bharati Bhavan. It was perfect for what he wanted. He wanted to start a society for Krishna consciousness, get a foothold in preaching. And he established the building. He was given the building for the League of Devotees. And it had a lecture hall and a temple. It resembled a palace. It was just perfect. And he even incorporated it as the League of Devotees. And he wrote a prospectus in 1953. And he had a following there. I believe he initiated one young man at that point. But somehow or other, it didn't work. That it was a mayor, the governor's wife wanted it for her woman's society. And that was it. The League of Devotees, it's a prospectus, May 16th, 1953. All glories to Sri Sri Guru and Gauranga. Prospectus, the League of Devotees, incorporated under Societies Registration Act. It was in Jhansi, League of Devotees Prospectus. This was a little from his organization that he was setting up, right? Beginning, setting up. The purpose of establishing an association like the League of Devotees is on the wish of Om Vishnupad Paramahansa 108 Sri Srimad Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj and Thakur Bhakti Vinod of Navadvip, West Bengal, is keenly felt a necessary enterprise on the face of the present world situation, with special references to the degraded and distressed condition of the human being. The human being in general has forgotten his real position of life, being too much attracted by the external energy of the absolute truth. And as such, he is enamored with the beauty of material nature without any consideration of his spiritual identity. So that's what Prabhupada started. And we would think, because it's part of his devotional instruction and service to a spiritual master, that it would be successful. And we have to see the bigger picture. Srila Prabhupada was starting to establish himself in this world to propagate Krishna consciousness, following in the footsteps of the great souls. So we see that it didn't come off like effortless. He tried there, and then it was so-called failure. He tried to make money, seemingly a failure, but not really. So what does he do? Does he give up? No. He's determined, and he is going to follow the instruction of a spiritual master. You know, whether he's a success or failure. What did he say when he came into the Boston Harbor? My dear Lord, you make me a success or failure. It's up to you. Make me dance however you want. I'm your servant. So with no expectation, Prabhupada, there he was in Boston Harbor, $7 in rupees, some books, a lot of books, not knowing anyone. He said when he got off the boat, he didn't know whether to go left or right. It wasn't like there was a group of people that met him. They were going to start supporting his efforts. No, he was a lone traveler, and at 70 years old. So he just pursued and patiently went forward. And then eventually things started to move. Now, if he had established his following in Jhansi, it's possible that what ended up happening might not have. Maybe it was just Krishna's arrangement for him to get started and then finally come to America. If he would have had a lot of money, most likely he wouldn't have started where he started in Manhattan, in the drags of Manhattan. That's where all the beatniks, the hippies, the young people were hanging out. It's not where the people with money and I mean, they had education. A lot of them had education, but they were rebelling against the times. The Vietnam War was throwing thousands and thousands of young men for useless war, and they were all being killed, just thousands of them, if you see the statistics. And that was Prabhupada's venue, that was Prabhupada's audience, these young people. And we see many of these young people, whether we hear about them or not, we hear about the famous ones, but the unsung heroes of our movement, there's hundreds and hundreds of them that have gone on and done wonderful preaching projects that I've never heard of. You know, they're just not in that league of being famous. Somehow or other, they don't have that in their life, but they're doing great service. So I just thought it was interesting how Prahlad is talking, and he's telling his friends. And then Prabhupada goes on to explain in the purport. So in the purport, Prabhupada says, to take shelter of the lotus feet of Krishna means to act according to the rules and regulations of Bhagavad Dharma, our devotional service. And we are so fortunate. It's amazing what we have. We hear the term surrender, and often we wonder, what is okay, surrender to Krishna. So how do we surrender? How do we surrender to somebody that we don't really personally see directly, who doesn't like come and talk to us and sit in our front room, who doesn't appear and speak directly to us? So here in the purport, there's an explanation. To take shelter or to surrender to the lotus feet of Krishna means to act according to the rules and regulations of devotional service. So we're not in the category of the Rupa Goswamis and Narottam Das Thakurs and people that had that direct association with the Lord, where he told them, I want you to renovate or resurrect or reestablish the holy places of Vrindavan. We don't have that. That is not us. We are distant. We are not, I don't want to say you are not qualified. I'm not qualified to be in the personal association of the Lord. Obviously, what I would just make so many offenses because I'm so foolish and so unqualified. You know, it's just no culture, just sad. I'm in sad condition. What would Krishna do with me that way? You know, so the rules and regulations, there's so many subtle rules and guidelines and regulations. And the more we dive deep into the realm of devotion, the more we see what's to be done. Okay, so we have when we take Diksha, we make a promise to follow the rules and regulations. And right then, they're simple. We think, sometimes some of us think, well, okay, I've gotten initiated, I've succeeded. But basically, it's just getting started. So Diksha, rules and regulations. No meat eating, no illicit sex life, no gambling, no intoxication. I mean, for those to be the rules means that the society we're in is so degraded that most people have the habit of meat eating, taking intoxication, having illicit sex life, and gambling. It's like one time I read, Prabhupada said, I don't know if it was a Muslim or if it was what scripture it was. But one of the first rules was to stop having sex with your mother. It was like, whoa, really? But if you look at the situation, our beginning is don't have illicit sex life, don't take intoxication, don't gamble, and don't eat meat. Why? Because it's the very, very common factor of people in this age. And we're taking our first step to following rules and regulations in devotional life. So then you have the Shikshastika. It's a guideline. It's the prayers, what Lord Chaitanya left us. And it's a guideline of how to think and rules. It's actually rules and regulations. To think yourself lower than the straw on the street. Be devoid of all sense of false prestige. Be ready to offer all respects to others. Don't want followers. Don't think you're so great. If I had any attraction for you, I would have died. Right? Don't think the demigods are on the same level as Krishna. Those are really basic things. That's what the Lord left us. You know, we always want to think we're the best, we're the top, we're the greatest, we're the most. It's the disease that we have. But we're not. We're not. Probably if we really realized where we were situated, we would be horrified. Right? We're just getting started. If we think we've made great advancement, we slow down our own advancement. If we think we're great and very knowledgeable, we develop pride. Otherwise, why would we think like that? You know, better to think how Prabhupada was so vastly knowledgeable. Amazing. And these other great personalities in our line. How advanced they must be. So, and then we have a book that Prabhupada gave us, a small book. The Upadeshamrita, the Nectar of Instruction by Rupa Goswami. Text 1. A sober person who can tolerate the urge to speak, the mind's demands, the actions of anger, and the urges of the tongue and belly and genitals is qualified to make disciples all over the world. I mean, just by hearing it, oh, well, I can do that. I can tolerate my mind's demands. I don't get angry. I can control my tongue. I eat all kinds of prasadam. But are we really qualified to make disciples all over the world? Probably not. One's devotional service is spoiled when he becomes too entangled in the following 6 activities: eating more than necessary or collecting more funds than required, over endeavoring for mundane things that are very difficult to obtain, talking unnecessarily about mundane subject matters. It's a very common thing. Talking. The physical problem that I had those few years ago is just still hanging on. Not like it was, fortunately. I was so sick. But I find it almost annoying. I want the association of devotees. And like for instance, twice, 2 or 3 times yesterday, I went up to the temple and I was talking with, my god sister, and then another god sister, and it just was all this mundane talk. And people can go on and on and on. When she said this and this happened, and they said that, and this is, and why aren't they doing that? It's like, whoa. And I just have to get up and say, oh, well, I've got to go. It's like, I don't want to sit around and just hear about all this. I know I sat down to have lunch with somebody who comes regularly, and I thought, oh, well, we can have a nice conversation. Oh, yeah, and my father, when he passed away, he left a truck, and my brother took the truck, and then the truck was like this, and it didn't work, and then he fixed it, that. And I'm just thinking, oh, my God, what am I listening to this for? What is the benefit? I mean, better I just go and water the plants and do some service, make a flower vase or pick the flowers, or than to sit and listen to all this mundane yakety yak, just like, wow. So we have these rules, and these are from like Rupa Goswami, and they're simple. They're very simple. When we can say that we are above all these rules, then we can feel maybe we've made some progress. But when we're submerged in these things, then we have to try and get above. Associating with worldly minded persons who are not interested in Krishna consciousness, being greedy for mundane achievements. And that can be even within our society. Oh, I want to be the temple president. Oh, I want to be the GBC. Well, what do you want to be the GBC for? You think it's fun? It's like these people, they sit for hours and listen to the problems within our society and have to figure out how to fix it. And they don't get paid anything. They spend hours and hours. I used to watch Malati, hours and hours. Oh, I can't talk. I got a GBC meeting. Like 3 hours later. No, sorry, not finished yet. Okay. And then not that she would ever tell me any details of names or anything, but in different conversations, some of the stuff they were dealing with, like, I could not handle that. It's like not a fun thing. They don't get any money. They don't get appreciated by a lot of people. It's just not. We're in a very difficult time. This Kali Yuga and our situation, we're really at the beginning. And we need to be very serious to absorb these rules and regulations and guidelines. Like Prahlad Maharaj is telling his friends, don't think you're going to live forever. My God, so many people are dying this year. So many. And last year, I've never seen so many. A friend of mine, one of her sons passed away in a very weird and unfortunate situation. Maybe he was probably 35, 38. And this was like 5 or 6 years ago. Her other son, who is a gardener, a farmer, a nice person, nice devotee, passed away in his sleep. He was like 36 years old. This was just a few days ago. And then another god brother just had a heart attack and passed away. It's like, whoa, we really don't know how much time we have. It's like, it's like crossing a minefield. You don't know if the next step is going to be your last. It's just the reality. So these rules and regulations they're gifts. These directions, the nectar of instruction. even if you don't like read 10 pages, a chapter a day, even if you just sincerely study one page of one of these books and think about it and try and incorporate it into your life, that's great. Prabhupada said, even if just let them touch the book, it gives them some benefit. It gives them some benefit. We have to check our motives. Are we doing these things to cultivate fame and prestige and name, or are we doing these things to actually get out of this mess we've gotten ourselves into? There are 6 principles favorable to the execution of pure devotional service. Being enthusiastic, endeavoring with confidence. Prabhupada endeavored with confidence. Being patient, my God, he was supremely patient. Acting according to the regulated principles such as Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu, Smaranam, hearing, chanting, and remembering Krishna. 5, abandoning the association of non-devotees. 6, following in the footsteps of the previous acharyas. The 6 principles undoubtedly assure the complete success of pure devotional service. Prabhupada makes it so simple. Prabhupada was so positive. He made you feel like you were already a pure devotee. He even said, all of my disciples are pure devotees. How encouraging is that? That, oh, my spiritual master is calling me a pure devotee. How kind, how inspiring. It's like, wow, I haven't done anything. I've been around for a year, and all of a sudden I'm a pure devotee. Prabhupada's way of doing it and was so positive and so inspiring. It made you want more. It made you hungry, because after reading, if you remember this story from the Krishna book, and in the morning, you are assured of birth in the spiritual world, or, it's like you so positive and so inspiring. So here we are. 6 principles that are favorable for executing devotional service. Following the footsteps of the previous acharyas. Okay, 4, offering gifts in charity, accepting charitable gifts, revealing one's mind in confidence, inquiring confidentially, accepting prasad, and offering prasad are the 6 symptoms of love shared by one devotee to another. So it's such a simple thing. Offering gifts. It can be anything. It can be flowers. It can be flowers from the deities. It could be a garland. It could be anything, somebody needs or wants, some pencils, it doesn't have to be a $500 whatever. It could be something simple, but it's an exchange of love with another devotee. Offering prasadam. Guaranteed there are people around that need prasadam. Even if they're not devotees, by giving them prasadam, they've started some devotional service. So giving prasadam and accepting prasadam, it's a show and share of love between devotees. So simple. It's not like our rules and regulations are overpowering. 5, one should mentally honor the devotee who chants the holy name of the Lord. One should offer humble obeisances to the devotee who has undergone spiritual initiation, diksha, and is engaged in worshiping the deity. And one should associate with and faithfully serve that pure devotee who is advanced in undeviated devotional service and whose heart is completely devoid of the propensity to criticize others. You know, you can get into the association of a devotee, and they can start off by saying, you know, so-and-so, he does such nice service, but, you know, the way he does this is like that, and it's like that, and he shouldn't do that, and he talks like this, and that. And you're thinking, my God, what am I listening to this for? You know, we have to be careful. One should mentally honor the devotee who chants the holy name of the Lord, and should offer humble obeisances to the devotee who has undergone spiritual initiation and is engaged in offering worship to the deity. This is a lot of the people that we deal with in our society. You know, the aversion to fault finding is such a bad, dangerous, or useless thing. When we start thinking about someone's fault, I mean, people have faults. We know they do. We know they do. We have to see. There's one devotee here that cooks. And I have to say that their cooking is, to me, not very palatable. There's no recipes followed. I would consider the offering as, I mean, you wouldn't offer it to Krishna if he was sitting there directly. And he is, but we don't see it. You wouldn't serve it to your spiritual master if it came to your house. It's just not done properly. But at the same time, you have to appreciate. As soon as I start thinking about this person's offering, I have to catch my mind. Okay, wait a minute. Look at how sincere this person is. They're there every day worshiping the deity. Maybe Krishna likes him. Maybe Krishna likes his food, you know. But at the same time, as an older devotee, I feel it's my responsibility to speak with management and see if we can establish like cooking classes in the winter when we're not so busy, to show people that there are real preparations, that there's a palak paneer, there's an aloo gobi, there's a way to make a puri, there's a way to make halva that doesn't turn out black and burnt every time you cook it. You know, it's like I feel is my responsibility when I see something isn't right. The burfi's not cooked right. Am I supposed to allow it because it's done with devotion by that person? I feel that I need to try and correct it so that person makes a beautiful burfi with the wonderful devotion that they have. So let's see. 6, being situated in his original Krishna conscious position, a pure devotee does not identify with the body. Such a devotee should not be seen from a materialistic point of view. Indeed, one should overlook a devotee's having a body born in a low family, a body which has bad complexion, a deformed body, or a diseased or infirm body. So that to me is talking about a pure devotee. You know, if they walk funny, or if their voice doesn't suit us, or if, you know, it's just our lack. Anyway, so there's all of those instructions, a small book, The Nectar of Instruction. It's a very valuable book. And then we have one of my favorite books, The Nectar of Devotion. It's a summary study by Srila Prabhupada of the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu by Rupa Goswami. It's amazing and it's vast. I am not a scholarly person, obviously, everyone can tell that. You know, we hear some of these great speakers that we have in our movement, and they're rattling off all these things and verses and instructions from all these different books, and some of them that you've maybe never even heard of by Rupa Goswami, Sanatan Goswami, you know, Bhaktivinoda Thakur wrote this and that, just like, wow, amazing. But then you have something for simple, unintelligent people like myself. But at the same time, not. It's a great, vast literature, the Nectar of Devotion. I mean, it's an amazing book. 51 chapters of devotional instructions. That's amazing. With many detailed rules and regulations that are meant to be signposts, guidelines on our path back to Godhead. It's such a beautiful book. It talks about, did I copy it? Let's see. I was just looking at it yesterday. Let me get it real quick. Here are the chapters in the Nectar of Devotion. I mean, it's simple, but it's not simple. The characteristics of pure devotional service. There's a whole chapter on that. The first stages of devotion, a whole chapter. Eligibility of the candidate for accepting devotional service. Devotional service surpasses all liberation. The purity of devotional service. These are all chapters. How to discharge devotional service. How do we surrender? We read the Nectar of Devotion and find out. Evidence regarding devotional principles. Offenses to be avoided. Further consideration of devotional principles. Techniques of hearing and remembering. I mean, it's like a guidebook. 5 potent forms of devotional service, devotional qualifications, spontaneous devotional service, ecstatic love, character of one in ecstatic love, devotional service and pure love of Godhead. It's so sweet. Transcendental mellow, qualities of Krishna. Qualities of Krishna further explained. Krishna's personality. The personality of Godhead. Further traits of Krishna, devotion to Krishna, stimulation for ecstatic love. Wow. It's just like a kid getting a whole like big tub of different kinds of candy. Ways to meet Krishna, fraternal devotion, parenthood. Amazing. And that's just in one little book. So it says the 4 principles of advancement in spiritual life, Dharma, Artha, Kama, and Moksha, all depend on the disposition. He says it twice, the disposition of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So I thought, okay, what exactly does disposition? I know what disposition means to me. But I looked it up. Disposition is a quality of character, a habit, a preparation, a state of readiness, or a tendency to act in a specified way. So the results all depend on the disposition of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. That is so cool, so amazing. So throughout Srila Prabhupada's life and teachings, he often speaks of the disposition of the personality of Godhead. He talks about his beauty, his kindness, his compassion, his eagerness to save the fallen souls from their great difficulties. We hear about the disposition of Krishna, what to expect. Is he a mean guy that throws down thunderbolts and throws us into hell because we do something wrong? No, we hear about the disposition from the great souls. We also see woven throughout the pages of Prabhupada's books the strictness that the Lord exemplifies himself, right? Like Lord Chaitanya, with Junior Haridas, with Prabhupada himself, strict and chastising and telling us about the results of sinful or harmful activities, the results of different kinds of and sufferings that we have, the adhyatmic, adibodhic, adidaivic, sufferings from the body and mind, from the other living entities, sufferings from nature. He also explains about the different types of hells, right? So we see on one side, Krishna has these wonderful characteristics. But on the other side, we see he's a very strict father. He's, there's rules and regulations. And some of them are there because we can get a very bad reaction. And those are generally when we hurt other living entities or put people into circumstances where they're in danger or difficulty, or animals, or bugs, or trees. It doesn't stop just with the human being. Thou shalt not kill. Prabhupada says it over and over again. Where does it say thou shalt not kill human beings? Thou shalt not kill. Don't kill. Don't step on the bug. Don't cut down the tree. Don't kill. It means don't kill. We have to, at the same time, we hear from Prabhupada. Everything we do, every step we take, if the mosquito in Prabhupada's net isn't doing anything, leave him alone. If he's biting Prabhupada, get him out or kill him. Bhaktisiddhanta, Prabhupada says, he said, I went to see my spiritual master and there was a snake. And Bhaktisiddhanta told him, kill the snake. And Prabhupada said, I was surprised because a pure devotee, I didn't expect him to commit violence like that. But at the same time, there is a certain point where violence is necessary. Krishna had the war fought. He had Arjuna and his brothers kill his cousins and uncle and grandfather and relatives because it had to be done. There's a point where violence is necessary, but for nothing, for our pleasure, for sense gratification. If it's not necessary, don't do it. If it's impossible to save the tree, then if you have to cut it, that's, even then, personally for me, on the property that I have, if I have to cut trees, I put like water from the temple on them, flowers, why not? They're living entities. They've spent their life. So let's see. Exalted and beautiful literatures written by great saints of our line beautifully describe the loving nature and the beauty of the Supreme Personality of God, Lord Krishna. The amazing compassion and supreme goodness that is the Lord's nature. And this is from the Nectar of Devotion. Srila Rupa Goswami, after consulting various scriptures, has enumerated the transcendental qualities of the Lord. Beautiful features of the entire body. 2, marked with all auspiciousness. Marked with all auspicious characteristics. 3, extremely pleasing. 4, effulgent. 5, strong. 6, ever youthful. 7, wonderful linguist. 8, truthful. 9, talks pleasingly. 10, fluent. 11, highly learned. 12, highly intelligent. 13, a genius. 14, artistic. When Krishna was in the school with Sandipani Muni, learned all these beautiful arts, like with with colored dyes and makeup and just so many things. I was surprised at the arts that Krishna learned. 15, extremely clever. 16, expert. 17, grateful. 18, firmly determined. 19, an expert judge of time and circumstances. 20, seen and speaks on the authority of the Vedas or scriptures. 21, pure. 22, self-controlled. These are very similar to the qualities of a pure devotee, because we hear that a pure devotee are different partial manifestations or incarnations, have so many of these qualities, and Krishna has them in full. Steadfast, forbearing, forgiving, grave, self-satisfied, possessing equilibrium, magnanimous, religious, heroic, compassionate, respectful, gentle, liberal, shy, the protector of surrendered souls, happy, the well-wisher of devotees, controlled by love, all auspicious, most powerful, all famous, popular, partial to its devotees, very attractive to all women, all worshipful, all opulent, all honorable, the supreme controller. The Supreme Personality Godhead has these 50 transcendental qualities in fullness, as deep as the ocean. In other words, the extent of his qualities are inconceivable. Thus ends Jayashree's purport on the 7th canto, 7th chapter, text 48. That's it. Thank you. Did everyone go to sleep? Is anyone there? Or did I lose everyone? Hello?
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Oh,
We are here.
okay. Because one time I actually gave a whole class and I had been disconnected and nobody had my
Oh.
phone number to call me. So,
We can hear Mataji.
okay.
Hello,
Krishna
Mataji.
Mataji.
Wonderful class. We're enjoying it. It's good.
Okay, that's good.
Hare Krishna, Dandavat Pranam. Hare
Yeah.
Krishna Prabhupada. It's
Hare Krishna.
so nice to hear from you about the way Prabhupada introduced Krishna consciousness. Yeah, it is very rare to see such a miracle happen all over the world. I mean, Nitai delivered Jagai Madhai, but Prabhupada delivered so many of Western people. I mean, it is astounding. Nitai would be so happy. I mean, was so happy to see that. I mean, I contemplate that way, and that yeah. I mean, everywhere you see, I was going in the street and it's written, "Believe in yourself." Whereas this verse is saying the opposite. Depend on the disposition of Supreme Personality of Godhead. Depend on His will. Depend on His mercy. That is the true quality of a divine nature. To depend on the Lord's mercy, because everything, because as gets the person gets more realized, he understands that nothing is possible without the mercy of the Lord. So yes, very nice verse, very nice. Your kind of association is so much valid. Yeah, purifying association. Hare Krishna.
Thank you. Hare Krishna. Any comments or questions or corrections? I can't tell if everyone is just quiet or waiting for someone else to talk, or if we're finished.
Yes, Mataji. I was waiting for if anybody has a question or comment.
Okay.
Thank you so much for this nectarian class, Mataji, as always.
No, thank you, Shamara.
Thank you, Mataji, for your association and wonderful class every time. Hare Krishna.
Thank you for your encouragement
Thank you.
and your service. We're fortunate.
Yeah.
New Vrindavan is such a special place, I have to say. There's so much happening. We just had the mantra retreat. It's a nice program. Bhakti Marg Swami comes, and there was probably 50 different devotees from different parts of the country. And then the week after next, we have the temple president's meeting here, which will be like 100 people coming, specifically devotees that are managing some of the temples. New Vrindavan is such a concentrated place of so much service and so much association with devotees. It's just so wonderful. If anyone is looking for a place to retire, New Vrindavan is, selling land. You can build a house, and everything is here. The Association of Devotees, beautiful forest. Bhakti Marg kept saying, be sure and go forest bathing, be sure and go forest bathing. There's so much anxiety nowadays. There's just, I think, more so than there used to be, because it used to be that you had a telephone that plugged into the wall. You had a letter to write if you wanted to write someone. There was a lot of patience, that life naturally had in it. You came home, you could watch something on TV that was just simple, like simple cartoons. And as far as movies go, there were all these old classics, Gone with the Wind and My Fair Lady. Maybe you'd see somebody kiss a little bit, maybe. And violence, you would see someone with a knife, and then the next picture, you'd see some guy laying on the ground. That's it. Now, it's like you've got a phone with you all the time, and you're messaging like 20 people a day, and you're getting phone calls, and you don't write letters anymore. It's just all an email, and fast, really fast. And then the movies, they're so, I don't watch scary movies. I'll watch a cooking show or something like that, but whatever. The cartoons, my granddaughter watching, there's like so much violence, and then like almost sexual things going on, even in the cartoons, and so much heavy violence and scary stuff. It's just like, wow. And people have all these anxiety problems. All these things. I was talking to my plumber who is in Florida, and I heard he had like a heart attack. So I called him, and it was like, no, I have this problem with anxiety. I have these panic attacks. I've been on this medication, that medication, and then someone else, friend of mine, I'm having all these panic attacks, and I don't know, it's an astrological thing. It's like there's so much stress and anxiety now, whereas before there wasn't. There's always been some stress, but the way the society is built, it's just fast forwarding the stress and anxiety of people. So Maharaj was saying forest bathing, walk in the forest. And I've seen it on, whatever, you go to see something online, and then there's some advertisement for something, but the Japanese are into forest bathing, walking in the forest. Yes, of course, of course, people are meant to be on devices and watching all this violence and sex and intoxication. It's like horrible. It's like a scary time, actually. Anyway, we have an opportunity with all of the Association of Devotees, with ISKCON, with all the projects and the programs and the festivals and it's wonderful. It's wonderful. We have a lot of opportunity. And it's not always there. It is now, but we can't guarantee. Like New Vrindavan, when it started, was extremely poor. And then it went into the heydays. We would get thousands and thousands. We get like 3,000 people staying here for Janmashtami. I don't know where we put them all. All the houses, all the rooms in the temple. We erect tents, huge tents with cots. We had a lot of money and a lot of waste. A lot of waste. When people have a lot of money, there's a lot of waste that I found. And, it all went away. We lost everything. We almost had to sell part of our, we were selling land. That's how all these devotees got land, because we didn't have enough money to function. We almost went out of business, you might say. Not that we're in business. And now it's back to opulence. But it doesn't mean tomorrow we're not going to be. What if the economy of the world changes? What if America falls flat on its face and the economy goes belly up? It's not going to be the same. So, we can't, whatever time we have, whatever opportunity we have, we need to take advantage of it while we have a chance, because it may not be there tomorrow. All right, very good. 8:30. Time for me to go up to the temple.
Yes, Mataji, thank you so much for sharing about New Vrindavan. And whenever you share about New Vrindavan, you talk about New Vrindavan, we feel so blissful and eager to hear more and more. Yes.
Well, you lived here for a long time. You know what it's like.
Yes,
And
Mataji.
you come all the time.
Yeah. We feel the separation.
Yes, that's good.
Mhm. So yes, Mataji, thank you so much. So if nobody has any question or comment, I can end up the call here. Vancha kalpatarvyasya kripa sindhu vevacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय। नमाचार्य श्री हरदास ठाकुर की जय। श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय। ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय। और ग्रेस जय श्री माता जी की जय।
All the assembled devotees ki jai.
Thank you so much, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. See you another time.
Yes, Mataji. See you soon.